Hello everyone, my name is Harshit Trivedi and welcome to Investment Talks with Harmony. So, this is a podcast series we are starting for our listeners who are aspiring or even experienced real estate investors. The listeners will get value from listening to the guests' investment journey. They can learn about new concepts and strategy used by real estate investors. Today on the show, we have a very special guest and a very dear friend of mine, Mr. Gaurav Kulkarni. He's a business owner living in London, Ontario. He's a real estate investor focused in multifamily and also an wholesaler who has a wealth of knowledge and brings tons of experience with himself. Today, we will take a deep dive into his investment journey, get to know a bit more about him and what strategies and tools does he use, what are the techniques does he use for in his investment journey. So stay tuned till the end of the episode and listen to Gaurav's experience and his remarkable journey, and you will definitely get tons of value from this. So let's get started right away. Today we have a very special guest, Mr. Gaurav Kulkarni, and he's a business owner, real estate business owner in Canada. He lives in London, Ontario, right? Yeah,
Correct.
and he specializes in multifamily, wholesaling, and is a very, very successful, growing business entrepreneur. So I'll let you introduce yourself, Gaurav.
Yeah. Thank you, Harshit and Moni, for this opportunity. It's great to come onto your podcast and share my experience with your viewers. In a nutshell, my name is Gaurav. I'm a real estate investor uh, specializing in multifamily and wholesaling. I am also a cybersecurity analyst, so that's my 9 to 5 job. Uh, I have been in Canada for last 10 years. I arrived in 2013 as a student, became a Canadian citizen after a decade of perseverance. So my journey in real estate began last year. I just wanted to understand how the real estate investing uh, goes. I I still consider myself as very new to this space, and I'm still exploring different strategies and different ways to get into the real estate investing world. But my whole reason of getting into the real estate is to create a financial security for myself and my family. Uh, and yeah, so I thought real estate would be a good opportunity to get into. So I thought I would dive deep into it and see how it goes.
Awesome, awesome. That sounds great. Can you tell us a bit about your Canadian journey, just in short, like when did you come here, how did you move here, and how did you get into real estate?
Yeah, so I moved to Canada in 2013 as a student. So I did my engineering back in India, and I came in Montreal. I arrived in Montreal to do my master's in computer and electrical engineering.
Nice.
Uh, it was a great start because when I landed, it was minus 30 in a snowstorm. So I felt the immediate change of weather, and it felt like you have arrived and now you have to do something and make your feet like ground. You have to be successful because now you have left whatever you had back at home. It's
Yeah,
a
it's a new life.
reincarnation of your own self. You have to like discover your strengths and weaknesses in the foreign world. You don't know anyone, and again, back in 2013 in Montreal, there were less Indian community. Now what it has, so there are less people you can rely on.
Right.
But no, it was a great journey. So after I did odd jobs here and there to start uh, understanding how people work here and what are the people's psychology, uh, and so then it started. Then I did my graduation in 2015. I struggled to find a job for 1 year after my graduation. So then uh, again, I moved to London, Ontario from Montreal because that was the first job I got in a call center. So after doing my master's, my first job was in call center. So I had to really climb the ladder from the bottom. So I worked in the call center for like 1 year, and then I moved to Sarnia because I got a IT job there. So I moved to Sarnia, was there for 4 years. Then I came back to London, Ontario, because I switched my job. And then since then I have been staying here. We bought a house in 2021, and since then it's going great.
Okay, so quite a journey, quite a remarkable journey. And
Yeah, it is a journey, but I'm happy. If you ask me what would I change, I wouldn't change anything in that 10 years.
okay, that's nice to hear, because there's a lot happening, and once you think about it, it seems like a while ago. And but life tends to move fast here in Canada, right? You
Yes,
seem
it
to
does.
progress, you seem to learn a lot. And how did you think, like, you bought your first home in 2021, that was your primary residence?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So, how did you get the idea that, okay, I like this, I get the concepts of real estate, okay, I know its potential, but how did you think about going getting into growing it into a business, like being the business owner that you are?
Yeah, so to be honest with you, when I bought my house, I had zero knowledge of real estate. I had completely no knowledge. I saw people buying houses and I was just following the crowd, to be honest. So because in Sarnia, I was staying with my friend, and then he bought a house in 2018, and then I used to rent a basement in his house. So I saw the homeowner journey with my friend. So he was single as well at that time. So we went through the process, but I had knowledge of how real estate works. So when I bought my house, I was just following the crowd. The interest rates were very low. Uh, and I thought this is a great opportunity to get into real estate. And I was newly married at that time as well, so thought we both can afford a good house.
Yes.
Uh, and London was growing like crazy at that time. And we were like, if we don't buy it now, we won't be able to buy it in future because the prices are going up like crazy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
then we thought of just jumping into it without knowing anything. So we bought our first house, and then my real estate investing journey started in 2023, where I got to know, okay, this is what it is, this is the process. Uh, and then if I reflect back now, I could have just bought a multifamily, rented out one unit, and then do a house hack. But again, I had no knowledge about it. But uh, if I reflect back, that would ideally what would be I would have done at that time.
Yeah, definitely. Once you get into the learning and you explore that what are the things that you can do, then always you think that, okay, I could have done it this way, or maybe I could have done it that way. But
Yeah.
always, you took action. You did buy your first property, and that
Yes.
led to you thinking that, okay, now what else can I do? What in the future can I do with this one? And that led you to learning and getting to know more about the potential of real estate business.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a mindset thing as well, right? You get that mindset switch, that, okay, maybe this is something I want. For some people it's not something that they want, right? It all seems
Yeah.
good
There is
from.
always a debate of owning a house versus renting a house.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't there are pros and cons to both.
Yeah.
Uh, but I chose to buy a house.
No, definitely, that's awesome, man. So, what kind of properties do you invest in? Like, what strategies do you use? like multifamily. You mentioned multifamily, and what else? What strategies do you use?
Yeah, no, great question. So I started with multifamily investing. So when I when I started learning about it, I thought multifamily is a great way to get into the business because there is a I mean, there are the risk to get into it is less. I mean, you can mitigate those risks more efficiently in multifamily versus in single family, like vacancy rates and all those things. Also,
Yeah,
the government is supporting multifamily residential properties more than single family. So I thought I would get into it, but again, then I had no idea how to start or where to start into real estate. So I started listening to the podcast on Spotify,
yeah,
listening to using YouTube University to educate myself. Uh, and luckily, I found someone through Spotify. So I connected with someone through Spotify. So I was listening to her podcast, and then I just messaged her on Instagram
okay,
just to learn more about how this goes and how real estate investing goes. And she introduced me to my mentors, Suman and Jason.
wow,
And that's how the journey started. So so Suman, I connected with him immediately because we come from the same background. We are in the IT, so I connected with him like immediately. So and he was just starting to his multifamily infinite accelerator program.
right,
So I thought I would just get into it. It's a low entry point, even if I don't like it. I'm not losing anything out of it. So I thought I would get into it, but once the course started, uh, it piqued my interest. I started connecting with a lot of like-minded people. I started listening to their journey, hearing from their experience, and I thought I can be, uh, I can do that. So that's how my multifamily journey started. So I have a 10 unit in New Brunswick with my JV partners. But at one point, then I realized that you do have a 9 to 5 job, but to multifamily is a strategy. It's a good strategy, but if you have enough capital to park your money into multifamily, it will give you a good return. Uh, but you need to have that capital to park your money into the multifamily space.
right,
So that's how I started thinking about what active income I should be generating or what other strategies I should be using to generate that active income.
yeah,
And I can use that active income to park my money into multifamily because multifamily is a long-term game. You won't see
absolutely,
return in 1 2 years. You have to like do a buy and hold uh,
yeah,
basically to see the returns out of it, right? So
takes time,
then I started exploring what other strategies there are in real estate which can offer me that active income.
right,
So one was wholesaling and one was fix and flip. I come from an IT background, I have zero knowledge about construction or anything like that. So I thought fix and flip would be a risky area if I get into.
yeah,
So I thought I would get into the wholesaling because wholesaling is the foundation of everything. You have to talk with the seller, you have to negotiate, you have to find the properties, you have to dispose them. So it's kind of you do everything in wholesaling, and it builds up the skills which you can use in multifamily as well. So I started with multifamily. I'm still doing it, but now I'm actively doing wholesaling as well.
wow.
Yeah.
It's so amazing to see like how one thing leads to another,
Yep.
even in the aspect of networking. Like you mentioned, you listened to a podcast, and that led you to meeting with Suman and Jason, and they're just remarkable people. It's a wealth
Yep.
of knowledge, and for sure, once you get into the a community, then you lead to meeting more and more like-minded people, as you mentioned, and definitely wholesaling and multifamily. You are doing quite a lot of things. You have quite a lot of weapons in your backpack now, and it's very very exciting and interesting to see your journey from where you have come, and you have come so far along. So tell me a bit about your 10 unit property. It's in New Brunswick.
Yeah, it's the New Brunswick. As I said, it's a JV with my JV partners. So basically, it's a 10-unit property. There are three stores in it. So in Shediac, New Brunswick. It's called the lobster capital of the world. I don't know if it is world or North America, but it's the lobster capital.
Nice.
Uh, so there are three commercial properties at the bottom. So there is a all-day breakfast restaurant. It's a Filipino restaurant. There's a famous ice cream shop, and then there is a pet grooming shop. And then there are three long-term tenants, which just stays above the commercial property, and then there are uh, three Airbnb units. So the Airbnb units gets converted into a midterm MTR, like a midterm rental
Right.
properties during the winter season, because there are no tourists. So we usually lease them out for 6 to 8 months. So it's a great place in a great location. I had an opportunity to visit there back in July. We celebrated my wife's birthday there, and we stayed in our Airbnb unit. It was my first time going to Shediac, New Brunswick, uh, and it's a great little town.
Wow.
And yeah, we went to a lobster cruise. It was great, but it's a very great location.
Wow, amazing. Like for some people it feels a lot overwhelming, like even owning a home, it's a lot of work. It's a big responsibility. But you getting into a 10 unit property, you owning that and being a partner for that deal. So how do you, for our listeners like who want to get started, how do you find deals like these, and how do you get into a partnership, or how do you work yourself up? What steps do you need to take to find a deal like this, and is it normal for people to find these big deals like 10 unit? It sounds a bit overwhelming to a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. And it can be overwhelming if you don't know what you're doing. But I guess the first step is to educate yourself, get into, I, I'm not promoting anything, but educate yourself. There are free resources out there.
Absolutely.
So I guess the first step is to educate yourself, talk with people, talk with like-minded people. Uh, you have realtor.ca websites like realtor.ca. You can search the deals. There are commercial properties up for sale on those websites as well. Uh, there are Then you can get the off-market deals through your wholesaler, or maybe through your network, through your power team members. So there are a lot of different ways you can start your deal sourcing. Uh,
Okay.
Talking about collaboration, once you start talking with people, you will find a synergy. You will find some people whom your thought process match up with, someone you can trust. So you have to vet your JV partners as well, of what they are doing, what is their portfolio like. You have to run the numbers as well. You have to do your own due diligence before getting into a JV partnership with someone. So, but you will find a lot of people who wants to partner, or who wants an active passive partners, or just a money partner. So there are different ways to JV. There are different ways to partner up. I won't say JV; it's a jargon who people won't understand. So,
Right.
uh, partner up with, or collaborate with other people to find properties, or even if there are a group of friends or four friends, you can just contribute some amount of money and get a property, and those will be your partners. So uh,
Yeah.
it's not a rocket science to find anything. It's easy to get into. You just have to start from somewhere. And I guess the first step would be to educate yourself.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it takes a lot amount of courage to get into such a big property investment.
Yeah, but if you have partners, you have to think that you will. divide those risks among everyone. It's just not on you. So
Right.
if something goes wrong, it everyone will chime in with their thought process and solution, and it's just not you taking all the action. Your action
Right.
gets divided uh, per the number of investors or partners you have.
So you rely on the partners and then
Yeah, you rely on each other's strength and weaknesses, and that's how you divide. That's why the multifamily is, that's one of the pros of multifamily is where your liability gets divided among your partners. It's just not on you.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. And how do you, like, you live in London, Ontario, and the property is in New Brunswick or
Yes.
Sheridan. So how do you manage the property? Like, how, what are the challenges, and is it easy? Like, it sounds like a lot of work, but what do you use? Do you use technology or some other tools, or do you visit there often?
So we did visit this year, but no, we don't visit that often. We have a power team there, boots on the ground, who represent us and manages the property. We have a property manager uh, there who takes care of all the properties and all the units. Uh, of course, there are challenges where you have to keep your power team members accountable. Like if, for example, Airbnb units, right? So guests come and go, but you have to make sure the cleaners are cleaning the rooms
Yeah.
properly before the new guest arrives. So those are some of the challenges, but you have to keep them accountable and you have to keep uh, track of what they are doing.
Right.
So sometimes it can, you can miss those things, but again, that's why you have other partners, and that's why you have uh, a power team member on the ground who can keep each other accountable, and you can divide the task among yourself to see who is managing or who is responsible for contacting that person to keep them accountable, or who, so what we have done is we have divided the task amongst each other to, so two people will look at the commercial unit, two people will look at the long-term tenants,
Right.
and two people, so we have divided the task, so that gets easier. So instead of you doing everything, you can divide those tasks. So it's like a divide and conquer, so it is running efficiently.
Wow, awesome. So
Yeah.
if you have a good team, you mentioned a power team, then it becomes much smooth process,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
you can rely on them. So you have some people who are living there locally too, who can be your
Yeah.
boots on the ground, and then take a look at the property once in a while, just check everything is working. So
Yeah.
it's not as complicated as it sounds. So probably you can have a property anywhere in Canada or North America, right? And just have a power team and leverage property management, as you said, to take
Yeah.
care of the place, right?
Yeah, you have to so you have to do your own due diligence before and make your power team who would work for you and not
Mhm.
just for the money, because you have to find people who has best interest for you,
Yeah.
because there are people out there who will work for you, but they don't care much about your investment, right?
Oh yeah.
So you have to find those kind of people uh, who thinks best for you, and they will give you the, and if they work properly, you will get an a return on investment on those kind of deals.
Yeah. So having the right people in your circle, having
Yes.
the right people alongside you working together, it's definitely the best way to go. And you also learn a lot in the journey, right? Because
Yes.
other people bring something to the table that you might not have, so you leverage their experience as well. And that's how you build up even your credit as well, even your experience. And getting into commercial financing, it's very different than residential. Let's
Yes.
keep it
Yeah. The
simple.
commercial financing works based on the debt service ratio.
Right.
And you made a great point saying that you can learn new things. I have no idea of how Airbnb works,
Right.
so I got to know more about it. I got to collaborate with local business owners in there because you have to decorate your Airbnb unit. So
Yeah.
I had an opportunity to talk with local businesses out there to to get some discounts and deals for our guests, get some paintings in our Airbnb unit. So you build those connections, and also you learn how the Airbnb thing works. So there are a lot of learnings once you get into the deal. So
Yeah, awesome.
yeah,
Let's talk a bit about wholesaling because it's one of my favorite strategy too, and I love it. It's very different than multifamily, and
yeah,
probably most useful for people who want to get started into real estate
yes,
business. And you mentioned it helps with fueling up for income stream for your multifamily investment that is long
that's
term.
right. Yeah.
So just for someone who doesn't know, someone who doesn't understand, like what is wholesaling in real estate? Can you explain it briefly, please?
Yeah, so wholesaling basically is you find off-market deals uh, from the people who are either in financial problem or trying to relocate to the different cities, or maybe too old to repair their house, or someone who just want to downsize. So there are a lot of different uh, scenarios where someone who is looking to sell it off market. So you buy those properties from them, and then you assign those contracts to someone who is looking to buy a discounted properties, renovate them, and either do a BRRRR, like a buy, renovate,
Right.
refinance strategy, or do a fix and flip and sell it for a higher cost. So basically, if you're finding a house, if you find a house for around, suppose, 350K, and if you're assigning that house to someone for 380K, you make the profit of 30K. So that spread is your profit. So
Right.
that's basically is a wholesaling in nutshell. But again, it's a great way to start into real estate. It doesn't require much capital, uh,
Okay.
but it is very time consuming. And again, it's not something you would get rich quickly kind of a thing. So it
Right.
requires a lot of effort, a lot of time, but eventually you will get it.
Okay, that's the best thing I love about wholesaling, and you mentioned it so well that it has various exit strategies, right?
Yeah.
If you're even looking something for yourself, you can keep it for yourself. If
Yes.
this does not align with your goals, just assign it to someone who wants that, and you can always do a fix and flip. So there are lots and lots of options out there, but like who can do it? Does someone needs to study or have a license or some kind of thing for doing this wholesaling?
No, so you don't need a real estate license to start wholesaling, but you definitely need education to know what wholesaling is and what are the different stages, and what is the lead intake process, what is the qualification process. So there are few things which you can learn, but you definitely don't need a license, and anyone can start doing that. So, and you can start anywhere in Canada or North America. It's a good business to start with.
Awesome. So how much money does someone need to get into wholesaling?
Uh, so it depends. So I guess the only money you need is for marketing. So there are some low cost strategies where you can publish your ads on Facebook Marketplace, Kijiji,
Hmm.
or you can start with cold calling people based on the ads they publish on Facebook or Kijiji, Craigslist. So, so it depends on what kind of strategies you want, and there are also some high cost strategies like doing banners, doing direct mail campaigns, or
Right.
doing sponsored ads on Facebook. So, but again, it doesn't require you to have like tens and thousands of dollars. You can start with minimum $500, put it in a Facebook sponsored ad, or you can do a direct mail campaign through Canada Post, and you
Right.
can start there. So but yeah, so you can basically start from $0, and then you can start getting into it. But I would say that capital requirement is only for your marketing. That's it.
Right. And after the marketing is done, let's say we find a lead, that is interested to sell their property, you still need some money. How do you lock the deal? Like you have to put in some money as a deposit or
Yes.
something.
Yeah. That depends. You can, if you have a good rapport, if you create a good rapport with the seller.
Mhm.
uh, I have seen people putting just $1 as a deposit and
Really?
still making 100K profit on a wholesale deal. So it depends. You can put $1 or you can put $1,000 or you can put $2,000. But again, you get that back uh, if you assign the deal properly. So you're not losing anything on it. And uh, if you cannot find a buyer, you can still put that as a condition in your agreement of purchase, stating that the deposit will be refunded. So,
Okay.
uh, and you can put that through your credit card limit and everything. But again,
Right.
it's yeah. So
It's
it's
not a
not a big
huge
issue.
amount. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a huge amount.
Once you sign it, then you already have
Yeah.
repaid it and you make some profit,
Yes.
right? And so what strategies do you use to find a find a market, or how do you analyze a market that, okay, let's say London or this market is good for wholesaling? How do you decide which market to go into
So right now, sorry, just talking about wholesaling or multifamily as well.
for wholesaling?
Okay, so it depends on the market trends and where it is going. The good thing about wholesaling is you don't have to do an extensive research like multifamily, basically. So for market research, you can find like primary cities like London, Mississauga, Toronto, Brampton, and those, and then you can target the secondary areas. So you need to think about where people wants to buy their house and what is your end buyer looks like. So for example, so you have to create that avatar of your end buyer. So if you want to just focus on people who are looking to flip the houses and sell it off, you have to figure out where they can have a high value to sell the property. So basically, those would be in the primary cities, near the colleges, universities, or near a good residential area with low crime rates. Or, for example, you also have to look at the news and all those things. So, for example, in Ontario, they are building EV battery plants, Amazon FBA warehouses,
Yeah.
right? So you have to keep up with all these things, and then you have to figure out where you want to target, which market you have to target. But basically, uh, Ontario is good to do a wholesaling, so you can just start with good areas.
Right.
Uh, if you want to start with, again, you will have a good number of competition in bigger cities.
Right.
So don't get discouraged about that, uh, but the location is the key as well. So sometimes you have to just grind until you get your first deal.
Absolutely, yeah. It takes some time as well, right? You mentioned a very good point that don't get discouraged,
Yeah.
because I've heard people getting a deal, a wholesale deal, in like 1 week. They're starting, and sometimes it takes like 6 months or more
Yeah.
too. So it's very important to be consistent and keep doing, keep grinding, and you will
Yes.
eventually be there. And so coming back to multifamily. Uh, how do you mitigate or assess the risks involved in your investment?
Yeah, that's a great question. So coming from the cybersecurity background, risk management is something which I do on a day-to-day 9 to 5 job, right? So that's something, uh, it's at the core of what I do for at my job, and that's also a core in the real estate investing.
Right.
So I'm naturally inclined to find uh, weak spots or vulnerabilities, and then try to find what can be done or to protect against those threats or the investments or whatever. So I guess the first thing which I do is to first underwrite the deal very conservatively. I try to make sure I I'm using conservative numbers. So even if a CMHC says vacancy rates are 2%, I usually underwrite it with 5%. If
Right.
the interest rates are around 6.5, I usually try it with 6.57, 7.5. So I try
Mhm.
to make sure that even if the interest rate goes up, the deal is cash flowing. So these are the few things which I do. Uh, and the other one is I try to not over leverage myself. I try to make sure I have enough skin in the game, uh, and not over leverage myself, and there is enough cash flow to give to my investors. Even if even and also even after refinancing, if it is cash flowing or not, because sometimes the deal looks good until you refinance it,
Yeah.
and once you refinance it, the deal, it goes into a negative cash flow, and then it doesn't make sense. So
Yeah.
so again, those are the things which I look for. uh, but yeah, I guess, like I know these are the normal things like which everyone does, but I guess these are very important things to mitigate your risk and to
Yeah.
kind of doing a stress
Absolutely.
test of your investments.
Right. And it's very important to assess these things, because you don't want to get into something that would, because real estate, it's a quick way. It's not a quick way to make a lot of money, but it's definitely a quick way to lose a lot of
Yeah,
money,
yeah,
right?
it is a quick way to get broke. Yeah.
Yeah, so you never want that. So always assess and see yourself what you're getting into. And are there any major red flags that you, when assessing a deal, are there any major red flags that you see, you find those and then you pass on that?
So red flags would be like if a seller is hesitant to give or disclose the financial statements, or providing a clear history of the income statement or whatever repairs are made and all those things. So that can be one of the red flag. I guess the other red flag would be a title. So if the title is not clear on the property,
Right.
that's a major red flag as well. Uh, I guess deferred maintenance, so depends on what kind of deferred maintenance there are. Like if the roof is not good, or if there is a foundation issue or a structural issue, which seller hasn't addressed, and they are uh, expecting the new property owner to repair it. Sometimes people do that, and everyone has a different strategy, but that's kind of a red flag for me. Again, I'm still starting, so that's red flag for me right now. But as I get experience, I might take on those kind of projects as well. I'm not sure. Uh, I guess one more thing which comes to my mind is tenant issues. So if there are
Mhm.
tenant issues, or if the property has been vacant for a long time, or if there is an issue with the tenant not moving, or always having police on the property, so it can be uh, signs of a either poorly
Something
managed
fishy is
property or
going on.
something else going on, right?
Yeah.
So those are the things. And I guess the lastly is zoning, because I'm just saying zoning because I just had a recent experience with that. So so zoning is also one of the things.
Yeah, there are a lot of things, and once you get into the due diligence phase,
Yeah.
then you find out the real picture of the property. Like, because nothing against the realtors, but sometimes they market the deals that it's so attractive, best opportunity, just go for it, everything looks gold, like pure gold. But
Yes.
it's not always how it looks like. So once you get into doing the due diligence, you end up finding a lots and lots of red flags,
Yeah,
right?
and I guess this is a good tip for someone who is trying to find their house, like a primary residence, doesn't know about real estate. At least do some due diligence and just not trust all the points which realtors are telling you,
Yeah.
because they are just trying to sell their product.
Yeah,
So
it's their
do
job
your
as
own due
well, right?
diligence. Yes.
Yeah, it's their job to sell, and
Yeah.
it's your job to know what you're getting into. So always do your
Yeah.
due diligence. All right, awesome. So we just have two unique segments for our podcast.
Okay.
So the first one is investor toolbox. So
Okay.
would you like to, for our listeners listening or watching, would you please give them three tools or tips or any resources that you can recommend someone to to get started into real estate investing?
Yeah, I guess so. So first would be I would say Spotify and YouTube are the two great resources where you can learn for free.
Yeah.
There are a lot of podcasts, there are a lot of videos where you can educate yourself. So at least those are the first two basic ones, and then there is a website called House Sigma, which is also a powerful website to find the house history and all those things. So
Right.
that's a great website to have in your toolbox,
Yeah.
I guess. And the third one is the website called Area Vibes. I'm not sure if people know more about that, but Area Vibes is a website where you can find how suitable that area is for your investment property, what's the crime rate. So they have categorized each area like A, B, C, and D, uh, and it gives you the categorical view of each area. So that's one of the website I usually use to find out about the area and the neighborhood.
Interesting. So is
Yeah.
this both websites you mentioned, House Sigma and Area Vibes, are these for particular market like Ontario, or do they
So
work?
House Sigma is for, I guess, Ontario, Alberta, and I guess BC. I'm not sure.
Right.
But Area Vibes is for all the provinces.
Oh, all across Canada.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. Wow, interesting. I'll have to check it
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Okay, another segment is a it's a very interesting one. It's a myth or fact. So
Okay,
I'll give you a statement that and you have to give your point of view.
okay,
That is it a myth or a fact?
okay,
So we talked a lot about wholesaling, and uh, from what it looks like to the common people, that people wholesalers make a lot of money. They just do a deal. They just assign a property, get it under contract, assign it to someone, and make a lots and lots of profit. Like even 10K, it's a big amount, right?
yep.
So wholesaling, is it a get rich quick scheme?
Uh, it's a myth. It's not a get rich quick scheme. You have to put in a lot of effort. Again, it if you're playing in a big market, there are a lot of wholesalers which are competing for the same leads. So it's not a get rich quick kind of a scheme.
Right.
You have to put in the efforts and all those things. Sometimes you can, as you said, sometimes you can get a deal in 1 week of starting wholesaling, or you have to wait for a year. So, but yeah, definitely it's not a get quick rich kind of scheme.
Okay, awesome. So talking a bit about your personal life, and like you do real estate business. We follow
Yeah.
you on social media, great content, and you are showcasing your journey. You have grown a lot. So how does your friends and family react to what you are doing? Like back in India or even here, like your peers who studied with you in your
Yeah.
course, uh, what do they think of what you're doing, and how do they react?
Yeah. So I come from a family where people have done 9 to 5 job and they're still doing so. And uh, so I come from Bombay and Mumbai now. So most of the friends I have were basically are doing 9 to 5 job, and when I saw I am doing something else, they were kind of intrigued, and I got a lot of messages of what exactly I am doing.
Right.
Some thought I became a realtor kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So I had to explain them, no, I'm not a realtor. I am an investor, and these are the differences and all those things.
Yeah.
Uh, but but no, people are reaching out to understand more about how this is and how we can get into it, kind of thing. Some people have reached out to learn more about it, or they have showed interest to invest in a property. So as a passive partner. So people are taking it positively for now. It's something new which I don't think they have heard before. So again, real estate is a very generic term. So they don't understand what real estate investing means, kind of a thing. So
Yep.
But no, I'm getting a positive responses from my friends and family, and they're intrigued to learn more about it.
Yeah, yeah. Real estate, like at least in Canada, it's a very small community, I'd like to say.
Yeah.
And for people like normally what they have been taught or what they have the mentality is, you just do your job, you do 9 to 5, you work for some years, and then eventually you have some money to buy your home. You get a home, you get a dog, you have a baby, or
Yeah.
eventually you pay off the mortgage, you retire, or sometimes buy two or three more properties once you are refinancing. And
Yes.
that's the general lifestyle that we are taught. But
Yes.
it's now kind of our responsibility too, that okay, we have some knowledge, we know what we can do, so it's our responsibility to help our friends and peers too to understand this and help them succeed as well in life.
Yeah, for sure. And for example, I posted a reel this morning, right? And I got a message from my friend from school,
Right.
which I haven't talked with him for last 10 years. He
Okay.
messaged me stating that, do you have any tips for me to invest in Mumbai? I was like, I don't have anything for you for, I mean, I can give you generic tips, but I'm not sure how applicable that would be for an Indian market.
Yeah.
So I would still connect with you and tell you what needs to be done, and then I can give you some contacts with people who are in India and doing the same thing. So I can help you out in it, but I cannot give you a specific tips on what you're asking for. But
Amazing.
but people are reaching out and people are seeing my content and liking it. So at least that's a positive thing.
Amazing, amazing. Yeah, always keep providing value. And
Yeah.
very interested to know that what do you think, what are your predictions for the real estate market with everything going on right now in Canada?
I guess from what I'm listening and what I'm reading about it, we just got a news yesterday that inflation has touched 2% in August. So that's a good sign. So it looks like there would be a major interest rate cut coming up, maybe zero point 0.5 BPS. So I guess people are just waiting right now, being patient, and I am going. I guess the prices will start going up by next year. Uh, Also, it will help people who have bought houses during COVID times at a very low interest rate. So
Yeah,
people will uh, will have a sigh of relief when their mortgage comes up for renewal, and they won't get the same interest rate like 1%, but they will at least get something lower than what it is right now. So uh, it is looking promising. The prices will go up, I guess, but I guess it's positive signs.
yeah, yeah. That's what I think too. Like with everything going on right now, it's still right now a buyer's market, but it can
Yes.
transition very quickly in Canada. And with the announcements, with the news, so much is happening right now. So always keep yourself updated and get to know what you are getting into, because
Yeah, for
everyone's
sure.
goals are different, right?
Yeah, and real estate is a cyclic market, right? So that was sellers market in during COVID. It went to buyers, and now it again back to sellers. So it's a cyclic market. So even if you miss out on a deal or something during this time, the market will go down again, and you will have your opportunities to get something. And so again, it's a very long-term gain. So you have to be patient and not rush into things. So that's why uh, it it's not something you would get rich in 1 or 2 years.
Absolutely. So you have been growing your business amazingly. And how do you manage, how do you balance your 9 to 5 job? Because normally people working 9 to 5, they get exhausted after their work, and they let go of their dreams and ambitions. They lack finding the energy, motivation, or time. There are lots of excuses, right? Working, oh, I'll do it tomorrow, oh, I'll do it next week, next month. So
Yeah, for
how do you
sure.
balance everything?
So my wife and I both work from home. So that's cut down on our traveling time. Uh, I usually get up early in the morning, go to gym, do my 9 to 5 job, and then uh, mostly. I mean, I'm kind of a motivated guy. I don't. I mean, I kind of keep myself like so. 9 to 5 is a job, and then I still do some real estate during my 9 to 5 job because I work from home and I get some time to look at the deals or underwrite the deals during my lunch break and all those things. And then uh, during the night time or after my 9 to 5, I usually find deals. Uh, and then the next morning, once I get the deals, I call people during in the morning, in the afternoon, and underwrite. So it again, I have my schedule set on what I'm doing. Uh, and again, it's the hunger for the financial freedom. It keeps you motivated. You need to have your why strong, the why statement of why you're doing it.
Yeah.
If you have it clear, then you will feel motivated enough.
Yeah.
Also, my wife is a biz entrepreneur as well. She has a writing business and she also does a 9 to 5 job. So she
Okay.
manages her time well as well. So she does two jobs as well. So looking at her also makes me feel that I should be doing that too. So
Wow.
and she also manages the house. So it's kind of a three job for her. So
Wow. So
uh,
you are a power couple.
yeah. So yeah, it is you have to do it. I guess our goal is to retire by age 50, so that's why we are grinding now.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage, and being an entrepreneur, it's not easy, and it takes a lot of courage, lots of discipline to
Yeah.
maximize the potential use of your time, and everything you are doing should align with your goal. So it's not easy, but you said having your why. I love that. You need to know your why do you want to get into this. That will keep you always motivated whenever you're feeling low or feeling not up to the energy level you
Yes.
always want to
Yep.
be. Yeah. So
And yeah, again, not every day would be rosy day, but not every day would be like ambitious.
right.
Uh, I always go back to so I am a soccer fan. I admire Cristiano Ronaldo, and
Right.
one of his interview was and someone asked him the same question, like how you keep motivated enough. So he just said that I don't feel motivated every day. I don't feel like going to gym someday, but I have to do it, and that's what the discipline teaches you to do it. So you just have to be disciplined, even if you don't feel motivated. Just do something
Yeah.
which will keep it going. At least try to be 1% better than yesterday, and it should at least do something new every day, and it should just uh, take you towards your goal.
Yeah. Yeah, even tiny progress every day, it's still progress,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Gaurav, for connecting on the podcast today. It was so nice to hear about your journey, and would love to keep in touch. So, how can our audience follow you? Where can they find you, and how can they connect with you?
Yeah. So I'm active on social media. My Facebook is my full name, Gaurav Kulkarni, and then my Instagram handle is Gaurav underscore KUL18. You can follow me, message me if you have any questions. I always like to connect with new people, and if you have any questions, I am always available to answer you any questions, or if you need help, I am always there. So
All right.
yeah, I guess I'm more active on social.
Okay, so if we find a good off-market deal that a seller wants to sell, we know whom to contact to.
Yeah, and I also have an exclusive buyers list. You can find that link on my Instagram bio.
Awesome.
Subscribe to that, and if I have a deal, you would be the first to know, right? So
Perfect. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, Gora, once again, and thank you for your time and I love your energy. So keep doing the good work, and always inspiring and always motivating to talk with you.
no, thank you, Harshit and Moni as well. I know she's not on the line, but thank you for her as well. No, it was great chatting with you, and we will definitely be connected. And again, if you have any questions, I'm here to answer anything for you.
All right.